Hey, Anthony,
Yeah.
tell me again what you were saying earlier about censorship in gaming.
Yeah, so there's this big controversy in the PC gaming world right now because two of the largest online gaming publishers, Steam and a website called itch.io, have suddenly and at the same time removed almost all adult content from their platforms because of pressure from Visa and MasterCard, the payment processors, which is in turn because of pressure on Visa and MasterCard to basically enforce certain morality principles by a small group of activists in Australia called Collective Shout. Understandably, a lot of people are really upset about that.
Why are they upset?
Well, I think the core of why a lot of people are upset about this is because we basically have two payment processors, Visa and MasterCard, censoring what you can and cannot purchase with your money globally because of some outrage by private citizens in another country, right? And while the content in question is adult content that features some potentially unsavory themes, the real problem here is basically morality policing by a private company, right? And whether or not Visa and MasterCard should be able to dictate what you can and cannot do with your money.
Do you think we'll see this extend beyond the gaming industry?
Well, we already have in the past. Several years ago, right around 2020, Visa and MasterCard did the same thing with several very major and prominent adult video websites, where they basically removed all payment processing from those sites until certain content was removed. And again, in these cases, right, I think that overall, a lot of the content that were removed was very questionable, right, and should have been removed. That's not really the issue here. The issue is that that removal should have happened based on, legislative or judicial processes rather than the whims of a private payment processor. So this is not the first time that we've seen this, and as the Christian nationalist movement grows stronger and stronger, I think it's very possible that we could see more and more of things like this, right? Not just pertaining to adult content, but also like maybe what type of medication you can buy or what you can watch on TV. It's definitely a very dangerous slope to be on. I think we can all agree that payment processors themselves should not be allowed to make private decisions on what you can do with your money, given that Visa and MasterCard basically have global monopolies on your purchasing power. I think they control together something like 90% of payment processing in the world.
So, what can we do about this?
That's a great question, and there's a couple different options. First of all, as related to this specific issue that's happening in gaming, I'd encourage anybody that wants to say something about it to contact Visa and MasterCard directly, call them. Don't allow yourself to be shunted to email, and voice complaints about them basically being the morality police for your purchases. By all accounts, Collective Shout, that Australian group that started this whole thing, accomplished what they're doing with just several thousand calls to Visa and MasterCard. So by all means, let's balance out the complaints. But additionally, there is a proposed piece of legislation in the House right now. I believe it's H.R. 987, that is called the Fair Access to Banking Act. And the proposed legislation would basically make it illegal for payment processors like Visa and MasterCard to decide what you can and cannot do with your own money outside of, actual legal constraints that are imposed upon them by the government. I'd encourage you to also call your, senators, representatives, anybody else that might affect this, and encourage the passage of that act.